We are live, WrestlePurists Worldwide, episode 46, hosted by myself, Backup Hangman, Joe Hulbert, and we're gonna talk. We're just gonna talk wrestling. We're gonna call it in the ring. Of course, we all talk a bit about the weekend and stuff that's been going on, what's been going on lately. But like I said, calling it in the ring tonight. Just gonna talk some graps. Maybe Manny will join us. He finished work about 14 minutes ago. If I'm correct, he may make it late. He's on a new work schedule now, people. So Manny the Hooper will be doing more of running appearances on these worldwide shows going forward. But we are keeping him around because we gotta keep Manny the Hooper around. But yeah, first things first, please like, subscribe, super chat if you're feeling generous, get the questions in, get the takes in, etc., etc. Always appreciated. Please hit the post notification bell, and hope everyone's doing good. Starting with my fellow co-host Joe Hulbert, your worldwide return. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I've got the I've changed the famed Burt backdrop here. I have a JJ Williams exclusive for Samoa Joe shot. So for those of you that keep updated on that kind of lore, please update the website burtsbackdrop.com. And I'm thrilled to be back. We have much to get into. By that I mean we have very little to get into. We'll be calling it the ring nonetheless, and probably at some point talking about Ricky Steamboat. So what I mean by that is this is going to be a good show.
Gonna get into some arm drags,
Oh yeah, chops. Yep.
It's coming up. Ibu, Backup Hangman, what's good?
Nothing much. Last night I was doing some catching up of CMLL, the good old Arena Mexico, you know what I mean? And I watched the show. It was the Grand Prix 2023 show. And they did this Team Mexico versus Team International match. And my God, Monty, the pageantry. First of all, it was a 16-man elimination tag. 16-man elimination tag. It went 45 fucking minutes. And Team Mexico, they all had these cool red tracksuits. All their gear was the red, white, and green gear. And they faced a bunch of guys from New Japan and from the other side. And they had the Mexican military come out to play on the trumpets and shit. There was flags draping down from the ceiling. Mystico got a God reaction. I felt the national pride watching this shit, They got a trophy at the end when they beat the Invaders. That's wrestling, So very much a worldwide match, just in spirit in that way.
They've had a nice year, right? CMLL. I don't follow loosely very closely, but yeah, I've seen a couple matches, and it seems like the perception has been very positive around them in 2023, which is cool.
Yes. They have a nice cast of young luchadors right now that are on the come up. Guys that you will absolutely be hearing more about in about 2 years. Guys who are in their 20s that are just kind of coming through. And the most surreal thing about their product, Joe, is that in its aesthetic, presentation, and in-ring style, it really feels like you're watching Lucha Libre from 1991 in 2023. But it still gets over to these guys, and it's kind of a treat to watch. It's almost like Mexican NWA Power, but if it was good.
God bless. We've got a couple of super chats. Get us started, get us rolling. Darren KG, $2. The return of the Hulbster to WrestlePurists Worldwide. It's a big occasion, Darren. It is a big occasion. Appreciate you for this $2. Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate you as always. Can't wait for the Collision review from Monty. I expect he got a 2-page review of the match with Gravity and Dark Order segment.
There was a Dark Order
You're building it up too much, man.
What was the Dark Order segment?
It was like a 60-second pre-taped. They're doing the whole they join the Dark Order, appealing to the sad boys and stuff.
I saw the Righteous. They had one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was after.
Is that they may have been back to back.
First, it was at LA Night Point, and now you're going to start to click.
It's a good bit. Everyone can click, it's good shit. I saw it in Chicago. I saw their entrance about 18 times. People started doing it by the end of the week. It was fun, so good for them.
But yeah, we'll talk about Collision. Zayd Nadi, $4.99. Appreciate you. Cody versus Roman surely has to happen at WrestleMania 40. Surely Cody has to win, right? Also, the ticket sales for AEW is scary. Some of them are scary. Let's like I said, we're calling it in the ring tonight, so we just got time to kind of just do things. So let's head over to at WrestleTix. Let's have a
As
look
we
what's
often do
going
in
on.
our day.
Okay,
Fire up the good old WrestleTix.
Yeah.
AEW presents Dynamite Rampage October 25th in Philly. 2,100 tickets distributed. Where else? What else have we got? Collision on September 9th, which was this weekend, just gone, was 3,100.
Yeah, they were pretty lively, at least.
We're crossing the 3K mark.
Yeah.
What else have we got? When was the last update for Grand Slam?
They've
That's what I'm going to
cancelled
try for.
I'm not sure, but I can tell you guys that they've begun reaching out to the seat fillers enrolled in seat filler programs and offering them Grand Slam tickets for $5.
That's real graps, I'm sorry to say.
Gotta get the people in, brother. You need that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Gotta keep
Need them
that
there.
But
Ash magic. You gotta keep it
bro.
alive, brother.
Here's the thing: it's not like usually seat fillers get tickets for free. They're saying no, $5 so that they can claim it's paid still. You know what I mean?
Beast.
Yes.
Real. All right, Full Gear went on sale last week. I believe it went on public sale on Friday, and as of the 9th, what day was the 9th? Saturday.
Like 2 days ago.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so after 24 hours, they were at 5,600.
That's not too bad.
So what are we thinking it finishes at?
Full Gear. That's in the Forum in LA, right?
Yep. Yeah, I reckon they'll get to 10.
You think they'll get to 10?
9.
Yeah, 10's good, man. That should be kind of like the goal, So you gotta get 10 in for the pay-per-view.
Like genuinely, while we're on this topic, because it is an interesting topic once you get beyond just there is no quick fix for these things. You have to commit to a direction that you believe in. And obviously you can't be oblivious if that direction doesn't pick up any steam, but it's not one of those things where it's well, let's just push insert wrestler and we'll be fine. It's a bigger picture thing. One thing I think would be an interesting conversation to explore, even if not tonight, is I think AEW would be well served to just take a half step back and ponder what their identity is in the current wrestling landscape. Because a couple of years ago, it was very easy to be better than WWE because WWE was very, very bad and scoring own goals every week. As the product has improved and their audience is happy with it, you're now challenged to be different than, because it's not as easy as just being better than every week, right? So I think it's interesting to try and figure out what that looks like for AEW when, let's be honest, MJF as world champion, as over as he is not exactly doing stuff that's different than, I think it's fair to say. That's not an insult. It's getting over and it's good stuff. But I do think AEW have got to really try and figure out what is our identity. That's always central to these things, I think. So that'll be something to ponder.
Yeah, definitely. They got some stuff that they need to kind of figure out with that identity, especially going forward after the all-in, all-out week and everything that came with that, including, of course, the firing of CM Punk and breaking records, etc., etc.
Do we have any data on some of the upcoming TVs, like for Dynamite?
Well, there was that update from last week, 4 days ago. For this Wednesday's Dynamite was at 1,746 tickets.
That's in Cincinnati, correct?
Yes.
They're cold right now, man. I mean, it is what it is, right? You can't kind of ignore it or deny it. It's just it's clear that they have within their fan base, there is definitely some momentum internally in terms of a little more positive outlook, which is good. But now you need to translate into something more substantial for the person that's going to buy the ticket or tune in on TV. So that's their big kind of goal here to close out 2023.
The way I look at it, Joe, is I think that for some people it's almost this Punk has gone honeymoon of Glee, so to speak.
Right.
And All Out was a triumphant show, right?
Sure.
And Dynamite was extremely encouraging from a story standpoint, and it was a good show. I think it's almost this whirlwind of like the fans and maybe even many of the towns as well, just kind of going like, all right, fresh new step to be taken here. Let's kind of just do this thing, and now let's move past what's been going on, and that's nice. But now it's about a sustained effort from the talent and the company creatively, and then for the fans, it's like like once just the initial I guess excitement of the alleged problem is gone. Now what? You know what I mean? So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see.
It's hard, man. Like I just use the phrase of taking a half step back, but I'm very aware that's a difficult thing to do when you have to produce 5 hours of TV, right? Because it's very hard to take that step back when you're in the thick of things every single week. So it's a good problem to have because you're getting a lot of TV money, and that will increase, we assume, here coming up shortly. But it's difficult. I do think there's like a case of let's get our pieces in place. And hopefully Wednesday was part of that when we saw that Swerve Hangman program getting set up. That was like something we've all been asking for, right? More singles feuds with two guys that are important. And so hopefully as more things like that occur, as a Ricky Starks got a follow-up on Collision, which was a nice sign, they can start kind of filling out their roster in a way that I think they've struggled to over the last year and change, where it's kind of become just like a line of guys.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, and it's like I think there's room for them to figure out their hierarchy and who are the guys that really matter. Let's lock in on some key talent. I thought Wednesday was encouraging in that regard. So hopefully they can keep going that direction. It will help.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it became like a discussion as well because like last week there was quite a lot of talk about it. It's because WrestleTix did drop the Grand Slam ticket attendance being under 6K.
Right.
And then that 1,700 update for this week's Dynamite, so it was like, Jesus, because 6K for Arthur Ashe is a far cry from the 20K they put in there for Danielson versus Omega, So
certainly
we'll see how they figure it out. I'm expecting a bounce back.
To answer the other question, yes, Cody is going to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. All right. Next one, MazFan84, 199. Appreciate you. Daniel Jones bumping more than Darby Allin out here. Hey, man.
This is a reference to the Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones, who got absolutely mauled last night. That was an absolutely embarrassing effort from my team, the Giants. He had no protection from his offensive line. He had no time to throw to anybody. And even when he did throw to people didn't catch. People couldn't make fucking key plays. They got destroyed by the Dallas Cowboys. That may be all the football that I will watch this year.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Monty, when you get to this age, it's just like you don't have the patience anymore to watch a bad. You know what I mean? It's like I don't got fucking time.
I struggled with that last week because my one sports team, the FTR, lost the match there was 2 matches last weekend, and I was like, bro, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I was flying home like, should I sell my banner?
Monty, when I was 13, I was a diehard fan of all my favorite sports teams. They lose, I go to bed angry. I listen to radio shows and stuff.
Can't do it, bro.
To listen to callers call the guy like, "Hey, we have a Tommy in New Jersey. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Giants. We need to. I'm listening to all that shit. I'm mad. I'm on the websites. I'm on the blogs. I don't care anymore.
It's not healthy, man. We have enough things to worry about in our lives.
Yeah, I got bills now. No. Are you good? All right.
Got time for programs, so
Yeah, I have to worry about WrestleTix, but that's enough.
Yeah, we got to put up WrestleTix on the podcast live and in colour, But yeah, man, Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate you again as always. Either any reason why no show last night, and are you back this Sunday?
Thanks for asking, Darren. I'm glad that you guys still have WrestlePurists face off in your hearts and minds. So basically, here's what happened. Israel was unavailable. AO was in an edible-induced coma, and I looked around and said, "Okay, should I put together a show? Should I do an impromptu one where I just kind of waffle about grabs, or what?" And then I looked around and I saw football was on. Everybody was watching football, and I was like, you know what? Anything I do talk about will step on the dick of WrestlePurists Worldwide. So I will just preserve the dick of WrestlePurists Worldwide for WrestlePurists Worldwide.
Classy.
Thank you.
Weird way of putting it, you know.
As for the Sunday, yet to be seen. Maybe we might be able to whip something up for you guys this Saturday.
Where's the commitment?
Yeah,
You know,
I'll tell
you
you
got
what,
this
folks.
platform where you can you've got your own pod. You can be creative with it. You come up with cool concepts. You know, where's the passion in it? You know,
I am passionate.
round up the troops. Get Israel. Get AO. Come up with some cool plans. Get creative, bro. Book this show. Book it.
Listen, we're like,
You sit around criticising booking 6 days out of the fucking 7 a week, you know?
listen, we're like the EVPs.
Ready your own ship.
I was gonna say we're like the EVPs. We don't come to TV some weeks. You know, it is what it is.
See, now you're doing sportful shots, you know?
Look, you know, you might get a pre-tape. You know what I mean? You might get a pre-tape. Man.
Record a little short, you know?
Yeah, like, get in the ring. We'll get, you know, once a month. I don't know.
Anyway. Willie, $4.99. Appreciate you. Max versus Riddle open challenge sound far to y'all. In all seriousness, this title run isn't just the lazy, overused challenger of the week crutch.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
I have concerns about this reign because I think very highly of Jon Moxley, but it feels like his role as of late has been like winning matches weekly against opponents that are kind of varied in quality and interest level. And so the idea of him doing it with a belt does not intrigue me. At this point, honestly, I wanted Moxley to go more in the direction as a promo. That's what I think he's the best at. Not because his matches aren't good, but I just think he has so much to offer the show as a promo and as a guy in the middle of, heated feuds and big time rivalries. That's where I want to see Jon Moxley. I feel like for the last year he's been workhorse TV worker. So that kind of concerns me. Big Bill, that match has my attention. I think that may be a hoot, but yeah, we'll see. It's early days.
Yeah, I'm where you're at with it. I do have my eye on the Big Bill one because Big Bill's been pretty fun lately. But yeah, I just wasn't. I didn't want Mox to win this championship for a reason, and I just think it's the most autopilot version of him. Just him versus like insert guy on these weekly challenges. I don't think it gets the best out of John, and I think it's resulted in like three consecutive bland television matches. I'll get more into it when we talk about the Andretti one, but yeah, it doesn't. The layouts don't even benefit
When we talk about the Andretti one, what do you want to say about it?
I thought it was quite unfortunate. I have to say,
I have a lot to say about it. Actually,
Well, talk about it then. I didn't have a segment circled.
Well, guys, now it's time for Mox and Andretti. No, well, here's the deal. It just this was like the most upsetting 3-star match of the month. Here's the thing about it. I
was upsetting about it.
It's upsetting, Monty. What is it setting out to do? You know what I mean? Like wrestling matches on TV.
Give a young kid some reps, brother. You know.
Yeah, like wrestling matches should have a goal. You know, a thing that they set out. This idea. The AEW trope of main eventer versus young guy where he gives them a lot, but then he beats him, and it's like, oh man, he's gonna be somebody. That rings pretty hollow at this point because one, the company is inconsistent in pushing these kids who show these efforts in these fights, and two, Andretti's not at a point where he's even primed and ready to jump off of that to something else. He's not even there to do that. So this is the type of layout you do with somebody who's even closer, first of all. So I watched this match, and it doesn't help action Andretti. You just watch, and you're like, what are you doing, John? Like, Jon Moxley should theoretically be what are you doing?
He needs to kill more guys. That's the truth. Yeah, like
he needs to absolutely murder him.
Yeah.
But he's doing
he can do a good squash as well, man.
He's created them. This is important. This is not about Jon Moxley, the talent. It's about positioning him in the way to maximize him as an asset. I don't think the way to do that is having him go 50-50 with guys that are so much lower on the card. Because if you keep doing it, to Ibu's point, there's no value in that. Now, if he killed 4 guys in a row, and then he wrestled just for, we'll say Action Andretti for the sake of conversation, and he give Action Andretti 10 minutes, then you could go, well, that means something, right? Because he usually obliterates guys.
What are you getting over?
Right.
If Moxley kills him, it's like, wow, this is an unstoppable demon. He ran through Orange Cassidy. When he takes on these guys, Oh, he destroys them.
Yeah.
But in this case, you didn't get Andretti over. You didn't help Moxley. And this is why I'm talking. There's a value in squash matches for you fucking thick morons who just blandly, blank. Yes, you fucking thick morons who want to just see things as a black and white thing, right? And go, oh man, this is bad because it says inaction. Yes, inaction can be bad, right? But it can also be very effective as a tool. Every trope can be a good or bad thing, right? And Miro, to me, right, even though I did want his direction to come in earlier than it did, and I'm not exactly, I don't know what to make of the one that we're getting, but with that said, yeah, I don't know.
I'm all in, bro. I'm all in.
I don't know what's going on with that one, but with that said, there's value in reheating people via squashes, because if you're a good squash match wrestler, you get yourself over, you get your traits and your quirks over, and it also gets your moves over, because when somebody actually overcomes the things that kill everybody else, it makes for great spots in the back and forth match that you do choose to have. It's why Will Hobbs versus Miro was such a triumphant accomplishment. Holy shit, he kicked out of the spine buster. That's actually a big deal. Holy shit, he made it out of the accolade. Sorry, the game over. That's a big deal. But if everybody is fucking going back and forth with you and you make it out of the bulldog choke and, you can flip out of the Death Rider, then what does it mean? It's just hollow wrestling. It's just stuff to occupy television time. So no, Andretti versus Moxley did nothing for me. Neither did the Era Fox match. Neither did the Commander match. It's all diminishing returns of the Phoenix match that he had a couple weeks ago that was good.
Yes. Also, we said all of this, and we didn't note the fact that they opted to work the match in a way where Action Andretti worked John Moxley's leg, which was an insane choice. Like,
Why?
if you're gonna do it, then obviously Andretti needs to be like, the flyer. But it was just it was the wrong match in the wrong place with the wrong opponent.
And they were in Ohio.
Like the work was up and down, but honestly, the work isn't the issue here. It's so much as it's placement, concept, everything in between.
Monty, did they not expect for Action Andretti to get booed in Ohio?
I don't know, man. I don't know what they were thinking.
He's doing these dorky corkscrew springboard lion salts to the guy, and the fans like, fuck off, get choked.
Right, if you got it off your chest.
Why didn't Takeshita win this belt?
Click for only $5, appreciate you. Collision turned into a front for Tony to promote ROH. Felt my blood pressure rise during the Dark Order vignette. What happened to the Collision I loved? What happened?
I don't know, Glick. It wasn't a terrible show. There were some things that I liked on Collision. People are now making fun of the guys who were fans of the old Collision, and I don't understand that. I thought that it was a very
who's people? You always do this.
The thing is, Monty, the genuine, overwhelming, collective opinion on social media is basically this is a better, more tenable, healthier version of AEW programming, and that the Collision that these people thought that they loved, they liked the idea of better than the actual show, and that it was genuinely just a vacuous program with long main events. And listen, people are entitled to their opinions, absolutely. But I thought that the approach that Collision took in the first couple weeks was very healthy. It had a streamlined, small cast of people. You focused on the people. You got those people over. Look at how Ricky Starks is better for it. Look at how Miro is better for it, right? Were some of the CMFTR main events a little self-indulgent? A little bit. Those 30-minute matches didn't always need to be 30. I get it. All right, I fucking get it. But for the people who act like it was just this nothing show and that it was terrible, what do you want out of your television? Because I know what I want out of mine. I want a show that accomplishes something. I want a show that set out to do certain things and then come out of the show doing those things. And I thought that coming out of a lot of those early TVs, a lot of people were in better standing coming out of those shows than they were going in. But I know for a lot of people, it's not about that. You just want to be stimulated from start to finish with things that look nice in graphics and nice in the ring. But I want to come away from a show feeling like things have progressed with certain people. But that's just me.
We agree, but it is much harder to die on this hill with how bad Collision was for the last 3 weeks of the Punk era, quote unquote.
That's the thing. I would never make that. Those last couple episodes sucked.
They were very bad. This was the best Collision in about a month, legitimately. I'm not saying it was great, but the Collision, the last stretch of Collision was rough, man. Those shows were like 1 hour shows stretched to 2. It was very bad.
I was a fan of I liked the Chicago one last week though. The I think it was a go home to All Out. I thought that was a really good show.
You're right. I enjoyed that. I mean, I was there, so it's kind of different, but yeah, no, you're right.
There were a lot. I know you saw it live. There were a lot of really good promos, go home closing promos. Yeah.
But we agree, like on the point, we agree. I do think it's hard to. I don't know. I kind of find the whole debate like hilarious because it's the first show truly beyond Punk, and so that part of the argument is just as dumb as the other part that I just
That's the thing about it, Joe. It's like it's all this placebo effect thing, where like the hardcore Punk people are like, well, now I know for sure he's not a part of the process, so this is automatically bad.
We fucking got your view started, man.
It's true. It is what it is, man.
And then you got the fuckers who are just like, he's gone, and there's people with masks on the show, so it's automatically good. And I gotta tell you, man, we have made an overcorrection on Lucha Libre. I love Lucha Libre. I'm a big fan of the Luchadors.
What does that even mean?
Because here's the thing, Monty. Because Monty, people have called the old Collision Smoky Mountain AEW. What the fuck are you talking about?
Please.
Have you ever watched Smoky Mountain? Go fuck yourself. What do you think? Jump. Fuck you. Here's the thing about it, Monty. Here's what grinds my gears. It's like we've made this overcorrection where it's like Lucha automatically equals good. And I think that right now we are in a renaissance in the sense that there's so many great young luchadors, right? That doesn't automatically mean that you make these graphics and all of a sudden it's a cooler, better show. I like having random luchadors. I was in support of some of the matchups last night, 2 nights ago. But in practice, half of them weren't even particularly good. The match with Aerostar,
it was very bad.
Aerostar, Gravity,
When everyone was popping for it on the timeline, I kept quiet,
It was bad. Yeah.
The thing is, it was a cool graphic,
Quiet. I could have got spiteful, bro, but I didn't.
We have to be fair to our guy Monty. Like he died on the sword with the gravity thing. It was very funny, but he's a very bad professional wrestler at this point. He's like a 1 year he should not be on TV. Genuinely, it's not even a spite with me. He's just not ready to be on TV.
Aerostar came out there with this like Party City glow in the dark, light up blue outfit, looking ridiculous, and I already got less excited because there was no Jay White, because I thought Jay White was gonna be the guy to stabilize the thing, bait for some of these guys, get some heat, and then they can do some quick shine, and it's gonna be fun. Bing, boom, boom, boom. It's gonna be the coolest 3 1/4 star match of the week, right? No Jay White, and so it's just bad gun heat segments, and then really bad shine too from the baby faces. And that's the thing. It was a great graphic, but in practice, the match was not good, right? But because luchadors are on the show, this is automatically better than what was happening at the peak of Collision. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever. Smoky Mountain bad. Joe, you know what someone told me the other day, Joe? Someone said the Collision that you liked, this is Republican wrestling. I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
This whole thing has got so absurdly out of hand, and I'm aware of the irony of us saying this after it was just a 10-minute rant, but like I don't know, man. I saw all this on Sunday and I was like, this show has been on the air for like 3 months. And they're like incarnations of it and perceptions of it. It's dumb, but whatever.
What can you do?
I don't know. I do want to reiterate, Collision was a fine show. Those 2 really good matches, in my opinion. But
there's one match on the show that I think is probably the best TV match they've done in probably since the FTR Bullet Club Gold deal, which was Roddy and Darby. I thought that was like, honestly, every pro wrestler who's on TV should watch that match, because that is an example of like truly understanding your role and perfecting it. Taking a very simple dynamic and having a guy who is maybe the best babyface in the promotion inside the ropes, opposite one of the great heels of a generation inside the ropes, and not overcomplicating things beyond that and just letting that dynamic be, Like, obviously they have physical tools that are absurd. I mean, Darby is like a crash test dummy and Roddy's engine remains spectacular. But really, it was a very simple match, right? Darby sold some more, and Roddy took that room and filled it. Give Darby things to sell. Still sprinkled in some crowd, but that's never Roddy's like absolute, finest quality. But he can do it. He wasn't ignoring the people when they would give him some heat. But
I thought
it's
he was
just
doing quite good with it.
yeah. No, I just mean like if you compare that to his like physicality, right? Like it's not
Yeah,
strength.
of course.
But, but like I just think there is so much. You used the word earlier about kind of that hollow work, and I thought that match was in like a tier of its own this week for AEW on TV. Like it felt like it was a different league, genuinely. And I know I'm biased, but I honestly believe that. It's just so tight,
I love Roddy as well. I probably have a little bit of bias towards him, but like, I'd say that was on a different shelf to the rest of the matches that we saw from AEW this week.
Pace too, Monty. My God, that pace they had.
Roddy's an animal.
Yeah, so's Darby. I mean, Darby Allin's
Darby's a sicko.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was exactly what I kind of hoped it to be. Like you said, Darby just selling. Just from the off as well, because there's a pre-match beatdown with Luchasaurus and Christian. It's just Roddy just getting to put offense on him, put the hurt on the boy. And that top rope backbreaker that they did was.
It's all it's the connective tissue of like, you see how much you see guys, there'll be like dead air between dudes, and it's like, I have to fill the next 3 minutes because we're in an ad break. And when we return, I'll go into, it's like, watch that match and see how little space there is between those guys at any given moment. They're wrestling, man. It's competition, like spirit is spiteful. It's as good as it gets. I mean, it came on the same week as Gunther and Gable, which was better, incredibly, but when you see elite TV wrestling, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because it stands out. It just stands out. I said this yesterday, Monty, when I made a tweet about Gunther, but so much of TV wrestling, look, everybody can go now, right?
Yes.
But because of that, we've now gotten this like homogenized 7 out of 10 across the board TV wrestling that's like fun in the moment, and it's like here today, gone tomorrow. You don't think it's almost constructed for you to not really think about it past in the moment when you watch it. And so you see these matches that people kind of go crazy about, and then like the show's over and you're just never thinking about it again. But then there's guys who are incapable of producing work that's forgettable.
Yeah.
And I think those are the people that we should always be kind of putting on a pedestal, because they're just real wrestlers, and real wrestlers don't make fast food. Darby Allin and Roderick Strong are just unique talents. And like you said, Joe, this match is constructed around a simple idea, a simple concept. But you're watching it and you're in it. And you're like, oh my God, like, is Darby going to survive this? Roddy's going to destroy his back.
Right.
And he's chipping away at it, and he's destroying this guy. And Darby, he bumps like a madman. Roddy, his offense looks like it hurts. That's a great recipe for a match.
That's it,
right?
Yeah.
A guy whose shit looks like it hurts, and another guy who is willing to bump crazy for someone's offense. So God damn it, it looked like he was crippling Darby Allin throughout this match. And then he hits that big Uranagi, and it's genuinely rattling to the core. That is like one of the best spots I've seen in a long time.
Right.
So fucking vicious, right? And ultimately Darby couldn't hang in. I mean, he hung in until he couldn't. And I don't disagree with you, Joe. I thought it was a great match, And I'm gonna remember that fucking Uranagi spot, because that's something.
That was the big spot, right? Like
that's something.
And, I know it's kind of a meme around here, and like we have our fun with it. And I did that absurd fucking Roderick Strong rant that was ridiculous, but like I do believe that core point of in an era filled with like good professional wrestlers who can do a lot of things, there is still a quality gap between someone of his caliber and like the norm. And I think it's very apparent when you watch a show like Collision. Like, yeah,
especially when you take into like Twitter perception of wrestlers and stuff now.
Right.
Like some of the people that you would have seen put on like a similar level, or even just remotely close to him, even just a couple levels below him, would be like insanity.
He's good. He is just.
He's very, very good.
As
a wise man once said, he's a machine built for grabs.
I'm ready for that rematch with Samoa Joe too. I thought their first one was underrated. I love their first one on Collision.
Yeah, me too.
this next one's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's funny that we're sitting here. It's 2023, and we can say all that about his in ring. He's fucking Roderick Strong has got a character over, you
Yeah,
know.
good, man. Yeah.
Oh, who thought we'd see the day? You know,
He's
people love.
embraced it, bro. Right? I mean,
Yeah, man.
credit to him. He's embraced it, and he's still wrestling like Roderick Strong, which is an it's like it's kind of a quirky thing to marry, but it works to an extent. Like, I mean, I don't think it would be overstating it to say he was wrestling to, like, raucous heat by any means. But it's given him a role on the TV show, and more importantly, it's given him a role alongside the main program on the TV show. So it's been a huge positive for him, and credit to him because he's been going now for 20 years, and this is kind of a new string to his bow. So it's impressive.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's kind of crazy to think that this is where we are. You know, Roddy's super over as a character. People are clipping him up every single week on the timeline. You know, he's about to main event with a tournament at Grand Slam. It seems. You know, we got this is where we're at now. Roderick Strong supremacy, people. You know, we've been on the boat for a long time, and it seems like we picked the right horse with this one. You know.
He's a
But
machine
yeah,
built for graps, man.
keep the super chats coming. Keep the super chats coming. What else did you have on Collision? Jade Cargill returned.
Yeah.
Jade
She
Cargill
did.
returned. She cleared the ring. Looked like she was saving Chris Statlander, but nope. You know, she hit Statlander with the finish, and we'll see where we're going here. You know, what do you think happens with this inevitable Statlander Jade Cargill match? Because there's no way they can just put the belt back on it. You know,
I
like
don't know.
you'd assume, but I don't know. It'd be really cool if, like, I believe, like, I saw a headline where it seemed like she was advocating for Athena to be on, like, AEW more. And, like, it'd be really cool if, like, Athena, like, cost Jay Cargill, you know, or something like that. Just get her on
Yeah.
TV. Let's just shoehorn her in, you know.
I was big on, like, the idea of Jay coming back as a babyface. And I gotta be honest, I was happy to see her and she got a great reaction. I'm a little bit concerned about the initial direction because I kind of wonder, like, what you do there. I don't think anyone wants Jade to win the belt back, but at the same time, it's like, do you just have, like, Chris beat her? Like, what do you do there? It's a strange, to me, it's a scenario I would have actively avoided. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
A heel should cost her, man.
it makes me wonder, like, I doubt Statlander just straight up jobs to her. I doubt it. But I mean, when I was thinking about it Saturday, guys, that's the conclusion I thought to Monty. I thought whoever Jade is actually working with next is going to fuck with her. I think they just wanted a big match for Arthur Ashe, is my guess. And they just wanted the big match, the graphic, Jade's return. You know, who could possibly win this thing, and then they'd shoot the angle that they want to shoot in the match to justify Jade jobbing, I think.
Let it play out.
Good to see her back, though, right?
Obviously. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Crowd loved it. They received her like she was a star. She had a good beat down on the Renegade Twins. So, I mean, I'm happy to have her back. She look. Star presence was never her issue, man. They see her like she matters, you know. So I do hope that this time around she has, like, what stuff to do that has weight to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That has, like, direction, has proper creative focus. So, here's to hoping, you know.
Here's to hoping.
Here's to hoping.
Claudio and Eddie, they had a sit down, real graps, you know. And we're setting up a total versus total match at Arthur Ashe, Grand Slam. Claudio versus Eddie Kingston. Seems like Eddie's going to win the big one. By the big one, we mean the ROH World Title in New York. You know, there is some romance to it. It's not quite.
For sure.
It's not quite the big one. We may have to wait for another year for that. You know, we'll always hold on to that dream. But the ROH World Title, I'm not going to complain, especially in New York. There's always, like I said, it adds a little bit more magic to it, of course. But this was a nice little sit-down segment, wasn't it, Joe?
It was good. I think they could do. I still feel like they could have done a better job, like, actually telling this story, because there's a lot of elements to it that they've kind of, like, hinted at. And I know that our friend Jose Montesio had the the wonderful video on YouTube, but that's obviously a fraction of the audience, right? And I know everyone hates the video package talking point, but it's like a lot of what they've done on TV is just kind of Eddie been yelling at a guy who beats him up all the time. I mean, fair, but I think they could have probably, elaborated on it slightly. But ultimately, I'm very excited to see them wrestle. These two guys are very much, they're a classic example of a wrestling pairing that doesn't necessarily make sense on paper, but just totally works in execution. Claudio is a physical specimen, but at times has struggled at the absolute, if you're comparing him to the greatest work of his generation, which I think he belongs in that conversation. Sometimes his work is almost too perfect, too pristine. By contrast, Eddie Kingston,
clean.
Eddie brings the grit, the emotion, and so they're a wonderful pair in that regard. So I can't wait for the match. I think they could have painted the picture slightly better, but ultimately I can't wait for the bell ring.
Ibu, fired up for this one?
This is going to be the best match on the show by like a decent margin, probably.
Yeah.
Yes, I am fired up. I didn't want to go to Queens, New York this year because it's a pain in the ass to get to Queens, New York, and I usually end up home at like 3:30 in the morning. But
early night.
Yeah, then they made this graphic, and I was like, "Fuck."
Go, brother.
So now
get some media cred.
Then I gotta go to work the next day after getting home Monty, I'm telling you, I want you guys to picture this. Well, I mean, you guys didn't just go to Wembley, so it's probably the thing is, I don't know how close you guys live to. How close are you guys? Like, do you live to Wembley?
Monty's much further away than I was. Like an hour and a half away. Monty had a trek, or he had to drive back.
Bro, it takes me like
train, brother.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Guys, trying to get on the train when like thousands of other people are also trying to get on a train. Is the worst. Now, thankfully, only 5,000 people are going to be there this year. So
I was going to say you'll be okay.
I was going to say, like, the first year when it's 22K, you just kind of waddling through. It's one thing. 5,000 is a lot easier.
Light work, bro.
Bro, the collision I went to on Saturday or last Saturday was like, genuinely didn't know there was an event there. It was insane because it was a small house, right? Like a lot of people were just going on Sunday. It was like hardly anyone parking outside. It was fucking nuts. It was a treat for someone who's trying to get out of the building.
That's the thing. When you're trying to get out of the building, bro. I remember, Joe, last year at our Thrash, it was maybe, God, the Rampage taping. We were like maybe 2 hours and 25 minutes into the Rampage taping, and the main event hadn't started yet.
Was Jungle Boy and Phoenix still going?
That took a long time. That people don't realize that what you guys got on TV was like maybe 13 minutes of like a 20-something minute match there. That was a show that like the taping of Rampage is close to 3 hours, it felt like, and they edited it down. I didn't even I didn't get to Ricky Starks versus Will Hobbs. I was like, I gotta go home, bro. It's like 12:30.
Fake fan, brother. Sorry to say, fake fan. I was on that Saturday show. I was there for the whole Ring of Honor taping, which is like it's like an active endurance test.
Yo, wait, the one that they do after Collision, right?
Yeah, and
you're a sick fuck.
They do this deal where they throughout the night they're going, folks, stick with us. We have got an 8-man tag main event featuring the stars of both AEW and Ring of Honor. It's like, I like me a big, all-star multi-man. What we got, TK? And I look at the ring, and the Workhorsemen and the Outrunners are already in the ring. God bless the Workhorsemen, but it wasn't quite what I had in mind. And it was versus Andretti and Darius and the Best Friends. That was their big show. And I'm honestly, there's like 200 people left in the building at this point. Like, it's insane. Those tapings are nuts, man. Like, there's no heat, and after every match, people leave. Claudio wrestled in front of legitimately 250 people. Like, it's insane.
Monty, when I was at Collision, Collision itself ended, and I'm like, I'm getting out of here, And then I get stopped by someone who works at AEW, and they're like, "Hey, you're not gonna watch Ring of Honor?" I was like, and I felt rude, being like, "No." And then I said, "What's the card?" I get the card read to me. In my head, I'm like, "Fuck no." Fuck no. And then I was like, "You know what? I'll check out it. I'll check out it." And then I watched Athena make her entrance. She has like a nothing match with like some jobber. And I was like, let me sneak out of here, bro. I can't do this. I don't know how people sit through the whole thing. I used to think, oh man, get your money's worth. But now I'm like,
Yeah.
You
It's
already
different. Like
did. When you watched
I was in
TV.
town for it, right? So it's different. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think the funniest thing about that initial Collision era with Ring of Honor was that they would always do like a go home speech after Collision.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like Bobby Cruise, he's fucking fixing his microphone. It's like, we got 2 more hours, folks. Don't listen to Dax Harwood. Don't go anywhere. We're
The
just getting
best is when you're at
started.
a taping that Eddie Kingston's at, because his go home speeches are the best. He just curses. He's like, "Hey, we're not fucking live, but I worked my whole fucking life for this shit. I did it for my mom." And he's kind of like, "It's not like the other place. Fuck the other place." Every Eddie Kingston go home speech, I've seen like 3 of them. It's basically fed bad. I love my mom. I hate Claudio. I'm gonna win the championship. Get home safe. It's the best. It's the best. You know.
Love it.
Real shit. Yeah, FTR are doing tag team challenge. Seems doing like an open challenge kind of thing. And the first team that will be making this challenge is your favourite tag team, Joe Hall, but the Iron Savages. I'm sure you're glad to see them again on AEW Collision. This time, challenging for the gold, it seems.
Well, I'm glad to see FTR wrestling on the television, and we'll see what happens. There's a version of this match that is good, and if so, I will immediately be emailing Dave Meltzer as to the FTR's Hall of Fame candidacy.
It
If it's
intrigues me.
bad, I'll not be on World by next week. We'll never comment on the matter. So, and also, like, genuinely, the team is not bad. Like, I like Bear Country. I find the act to be, it is not for me. But I think they'll have a good match with them. I assume. I don't know.
It's just funny how, like, you
It's
hear
not who I would have
FTR, you
started
hear
with, you know?
FTR tag team challenge, you know, people
Yeah,
people start fantasy booking it. Dax did a tweet, and he was like, "Who do you want to see us challenge? You know, who do you want to see challenge us for whatever it was?" Had like 200 replies or something. But how many of them replies do you honestly think was Iron Savages? You know,
right.
so it's like, but I guess when it comes to it, I'm sure there's a version of this that can be quite a lot of fun. You know, FTR must see something in them that they, you know, there must be something there. You know.
Yeah.
It's not about, like you said, Joe, Bear Country. It's not. It wasn't about tag
Yeah,
team.
they'll have a good
You know,
match. Right? It's just,
they were
I think,
serviceable.
to your point, like, they probably should have started with like a more, like, whoa, that's a cool match, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
But I kind of think it's an interesting direction in general because I assumed that they were going to be dropping the belts soon, and like wrestling the Bucks again, but and they probably will. But this felt kind of like a reset almost for the Reign, which is interesting. So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, an interesting episode of Collision. As Ibu ranted about earlier, we don't really need to go back into all that again. You know?
I do want to say.
Go on.
I did like Joe versus Penta personally. I was a
Oh
fan.
yes.
I did like it. I going into the match, I was like, you know, the best version of this is when if they just lucha brawl on the outside a little bit, slap each other, and then just kind of hope for the best. And they did that. And then Jim Ross is commentating this match like it's a shoot. Like he's commentating this match like it's an NBA basketball game. He's like, "Oh, Joe has the advantage, but if Penta picks up the pace and he pushes the pace, oh man, I mean he's gonna tire Joe out, you know." But and then freaking Kevin Kelly's just reading all these Twitter fed stats to him, which is a Kevin Kelly thing. He's always like, "Special thanks to this guy who just tagged me with all these stats," and we'll just read it on the air. And I kind of got into it from that standpoint. So I feel like, Manny, I'm watching this match like it's real. Like I'm like, oh man, he does have to speed it up to kind of beat Joe. And oh, but Joe's just so strong, man. Oh, you know, like he's and then Fred just keep pushing the pace, and then Joe does the power slam. I'm like, oh, he got him. Damn, they gotta call a timeout there. I don't know. And I got into it in that respect, and yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a good main event. I was a fan of this personally, and I just happen to like Penta and Phoenix more as singles guys. I just like them more as singles guys. So that's kind of my big takeaway with that one.
Yeah, I in the non-Monty division, I was the low man on this match. I think it goes without saying that I have no bias against a Smojo professional wrestling match, but I just didn't. I didn't see the match that many of my pals saw here because a lot, like, you're not the only one here, but like a lot of people that I talked about professional wrestling loved the match. It just didn't work for me. I just didn't enjoy the dynamic. Maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know. I thought it
I'm
was a
with Joe on
strange.
this one.
I thought it was a strange pairing. Joe, obviously Joe's my favorite professional wrestler ever, but like he does need like favorable matchmaking at this point in his career. And I just thought Jeff and Penta was like a very puzzling 1-2 punch for him.
I did not bother watching the Jeff Hardy match. That's just
it's not bad, but it's just he needs guys to create the motion, right? Like he needs guys to inject the actual outward pace, and then he can plug his stuff in, which still looks good. Jeff can't. Jeff physically can't do that, and Penta, God bless him, just opts not to for the most part. And so, I don't know. Again, many people like the matches more than I did. Maybe I was expecting too much as a Joe, fanatic or whatever. But I'm excited for the Roddy match because Roddy will do exactly what we just described. So I'm excited.
That's going to be great.
Yeah.
I wonder what MJF versus Joe looks like.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do hope they don't like. I think there's many different versions of that match.
Yes.
I think if Max brings a lot of shtick to that particular matchup, I think there's actually like room to be genuinely concerned about how he's approaching wrestling right now. Like that should be the match where he's all business, right? We all agree on that. Like he should be totally serious in that match. I
think Joe should just bloody him and kill him for most of the match, to be honest with you.
Yes.
They should build on the neck thing. Max should take a big bump on his neck early in the match. He should get thrown around on the outside. He should bleed. And Joe should just quite honestly just get heat on him for most of this thing.
I agree.
Until Max fires back. That just as simple as that. I think that's like the version of this that works, to be honest. They shouldn't trade moves. That's going to be kind of awkward. And it definitely shouldn't be like a shtick type of match with like melodrama either.
Yeah. Anyone catch any SmackDown?
Yes, I did.
The LA Night Show, multiple segments, interacting with Paul Heyman now, Happy birthday to Paul Heyman, by the way.
58.
The big man, 58 years of age.
You notice he's finally starting to go gray, Monty? It's finally starting to show on the sides there.
Man. He can't be forever,
It's finally going gray on us.
Still at the top of this business after so long, but
I always forget how young he was with like the Dangerous Alliance because that means he was like 27.
That's the thing. Paulie always looked old.
Yes,
because he went bald early, and then he said, "I'm going to just put a hat on for a decade, and you won't notice that I'm bald." Which is a beast move to do. But then late stage ECW, he just got so stressed. You saw it again that he's old. But he wasn't actually that old again. Like that promo he cut on TNN where he looks like he's just losing it and he's going gray and shit. He's only like 35.
That gig ages people, man. It changes them. Do you remember Bischoff? Bischoff, like I know he was dyeing his hair initially, but like just if you look at him visually, legitimately aged like 20 years in the Monday Night Wars.
Yo,
like had to recover afterwards. It's crazy.
Eric Bischoff looks 29 at the beginning of like this WCW thing. He
looks like a Ken doll, bro. He like
yeah.
And by the end, he's all disheveled.
Yeah, he has this flowing black hair. He's clean shaven, looks young, he's skinny and stuff.
Yeah.
By the end, he's all wrinkly. His hair is white. Oh my god,
it's tough on the boys, man.
And now when you hear him talking podcasts, he's like, "Well, the thing about WCW is he starts so grumbling." He's like, "Starrcade had a great buy rate, so Meltzer's an idiot." And,
when we were all together in Chicago and he did his tweet about the Punk thing, like genuinely like 4 or 5 grown men were just howling at a tweet because Bish, he did this tweet where he was like, credit to @Tony Khan for making a decision, and he signed it off with #respect. Like he was like this like elite prize fighter showing love to the new champ, welcome to my level, bro.
He gave him the rub. He did the thing where he held his hand up and put his other hand like pointing at him, like, "Hey man, he's the guy."
Respect.
I love how old people use social media because their hashtags are so bad.
Yeah.
Who remembers when Andrade said #Sammy?
He's a different kind of artist,
That was unbelievable. Yeah, that whole episode was incredible.
#Sammy.
Speaking of the old boys, Kevin Nash, First, LA Knight sending shots at him in his live promos, and then he just he goes on Click This at some point in the past few days, and he just starts shooting an angle with CM Punk.
He's a very good worker.
He's in mid-60s. Still got a good eye for the game.
Did you see him, Monty? Like in a different clip, admit like I don't give a shit about. I don't have heat with this guy. You see these views, man? Like you see the numbers running up. I don't fucking care to fight CM Punk. He basically admitted like I am making declarative headline anti-Punk statements because this is doing great for my channel.
And they really wrote the headlines. That's the funniest part of all of it, bro. Like they actually wrote the headlines. It's crazy.
He legit. Kevin Nash doesn't give a shit about any of this, bro. But he's an artist and he's still good at working. What a worker! This man said, "All right, we'll do some Punk videos. We'll kind of spin back some of the 2011 stuff, and I'll call him a piece of shit or something. We'll make a headline. We'll do 70,000 views, like whatever."
Bro, I know he doesn't want to do it, and he's chilling. But if he could make TV for like one of the big two, he could genuinely bring back the GM role. Could you imagine Kev at a desk with like a glass of wine, and he's got like a monitor set up, or like a home theater thing like set up, and he's watching the show, and like heels and baby faces just come in and talk to Kev, and he kind of like just like knocks him back, does a little bit of insider bullshit, sips his wine. Every time I see a clip of him talk, I think there's got to be something Kev could be doing right now, bro. He's money.
All you see. all you see is the Judgment Day while storming into his office and shit. Like, "Hey, Kev, we'd like to talk to you." And he's like, "You're the new hot guy, right? Damian Priest is what they call you. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty tall. I get it. You should be a real mark, though. Don't be a mark, right?" And he starts saying
he has like the show on a monitor. And then he has a big screen where he's watching like 50s and 60s movies. And he kind of just glances over at the Grab show on occasion,
Monty, have you ever seen his work with the X Division in TNA?
I haven't.
Bro, Monty, the idea of this concept is he calls the X Division vanilla midgets who can't draw and they have no charisma. And they're really mad about this. And so they set out to basically impress Kevin Nash. And he decides to basically undergo like a year-long journey where he teaches these guys to find charisma and gimmicks. It's really, really, it's absolute art.
It's some of the funniest pro wrestling ever. Like legitimately funny. And that's wrestling struggles for that generally. It's so funny.
He becomes friends with all these flippy guys, and through the process, Monty, they get more charismatic, and he's kind of like, "Yo, that was kind of cool." It's like, "Yeah, that little flippy." That's pretty,
there's one where he has like a chart of all of the top drawing champions, and he has himself as number one. he's like, "Yeah, there's 80,000 people at the Garden."
Monty, he would tell him like, "You should wrestle like me." That's what people want to see.
Kevin Nash, man. He is. Let's do some more super chats. We're going to fly through some now because we have got a few piled up. Keep them coming though. I'm always appreciated. Will Chisholm, $5. With the Endeavour deal being done tomorrow, what is the TV side looks like, such as storytelling or staging, or how things will be run? I imagine that side of things would probably stay pretty similar.
Yeah, I would assume.
I don't know. Yeah. It's all assumptions at the moment, isn't it?
At least for a while, right? Like, I don't, if there are changes, things like staging where they cut some costs, I think it'll be a while until you see that personally. But we're all guessing right now.
Mm-hmm. Darren KG, $5. Appreciate you. Cody better win at Mania. I spent an ungodly amount on tickets. Now I know how Monty and Joe felt getting money in the bank tickets. Those Mania tickets are probably like another league,
Bro.
We were there for the season finale of that Bloodline thing, brother. For real. Like, I haven't watched SmackDown, but I saw your tweet. Bro, I saw Monty's tweet about like Jimmy is trying, and I was like, we were there for the finish. Like, I don't know about any of this other stuff. We were there. It ruled.
You know what's the funniest thing? If you treat it as nothing is canon until Roman comes back, what'll probably happen is you'll be able to like delete this entire Jimmy arc that's been going on for the fall period. Can you imagine Roman walking back and like, "Yeah, so we're doing this," and like, "No, we actually been building this Jimmy thing. As I said, we're doing this," and it's like all right, okay.
Pick it back up, bro. Will Chisholm, $10. With AEW at this point being cold, does Tony Khan and the talent feel the same, or are they in their bubble? Or are they like, Punk is gone, so shit will get better?
I can answer you a little bit on this.
Floor is yours.
Internally, Tony is keeping a steady eye on these advances, and they're obviously always trying to make the TV as good as they can. And there's still definitely a focus from the creative team to, keep the foot on the gas when that comes to that. Their mindset is like, okay, no distractions. Let's just create and let's exhaust all of our resources to do so, and brand synergy between the shows to do this. And that's their mindset, right? Now, amongst the talent, there's some that definitely feel like, okay, elephant in the room is gone. Let's just kind of go there and let's go crazy. And people were buzzing after All Out. They thought they had put together an amazing show, which to their credit, they did. But there is still a portion of the roster who's kind of like, yeah, Punk is gone. Great. That has nothing to do with me. Where's my push? There are people who are still like that, where it's still like, it's like, that has nothing to do with me. I never gave a fuck about any of that. It's about what's happening with me, and I still want what I want out of this company and this business. And that's kind of where some people are at. So it's obviously a mix. Like it always is going to be in a work.
Right.
Playboy X 199, appreciate you. Daniel Jones needs the Roddy neck brace after Saturday or Sunday night football.
Sunday night football. Monty, what the Cowboys did to my quarterback was just it was aggressive.
I heard
it was aggressive.
Just the process.
He was catching Goldberg spears for like 3 hours straight. Like it was.
Just the process. Very full. $10. Appreciate you very much. Truly sad to see how badly AEW squandered the trajectory / growth of the promotion. Mostly self-inflicted. Punk will be the scapegoat, but TK has nobody to blame but himself. I mean, it seemed like there was a little window of opportunity when they were getting very, very close to those Raw demo ratings, Felt like we could have been on the cusp of a war, But they want to be the alternative,
I genuinely thought in September of 2021, they were like, it's like in a boxing match where, like, if you play the slow motion replay, they did this knockout swing that, like, the opponent barely dodged. And I genuinely think they legitimately had them on the ropes. Like, I thought, like, keep at it, keep this guy in the corner, like, you're going to knock him out. And I don't say that to say I thought WWE was going to die, but I thought that they were so close and they were on such a run, and WWE was so bad that, like, I don't know, I feel like maybe a different string of luck. I don't know what it would have taken. You know what it was? Do you guys remember there was a bunch of preemptions in October?
Yeah, that didn't help, definitely, yeah.
Their ratings momentum wasn't slowed by anything that they did. It was a bunch of preemptions that they had. And then they couldn't come out of those preemptions with any momentum because it was always on and off because of playoffs and stuff like that. And then they moved to TBS, and it's just a different dynamic on TBS. But so, like, it wasn't even like their fault, but I just felt like, I don't know, like you replay that matchup, like they were so close.
I do think they should have. I thought they should have shot an angle early with Punk, because if you remember, like, the Derby thing was basically a babyface match, and
Right.
he had there was 6 weeks from then to the Eddie Kingston thing, where he was kind of just doing he was doing a victory lap that he was back, and people loved seeing it.
Yeah.
I do think if you'd have just maybe moved even before that preemption and shot maybe an Eddie Kingston angle before. Again, this is all hindsight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think they could have moved slightly quicker, because I remember that being a conversation at the time. Is like Punk was kind of just doing weekly, like, welcome to AEW, everybody. Remember that little stretch? It was fun.
Yeah.
People's attention goes quick, So that's
That was
just
the
a
thing.
small thing.
I enjoyed Punk's happy to be here thing that he was
Me
doing
too.
for a few months. I genuinely did. But the argument can be made that from a business standpoint, maybe they should have jumped quicker into Punk in a feud with animosity versus somebody.
Yeah.
It's
he
tough.
also should have interacted with Dragon. Him and Bryan should have interacted on screen immediately, because that was the
Probably.
Getting those two guys in the same stretch was insane,
Joe, you know what? I'm going to take this time, Monty, since we do have some more space here. I'm going to expand on something I've been thinking about, guys. I've been thinking about the solution to conservative booking. And it's a thing, because it's like,
I just
Don't do it.
You know, you say we've got time, but well, you know, we've already been on for over an hour, so it's like, you know.
All right. I'll give you guys the short version of it here. In AEW, they don't do star versus star a lot. And when they do, they take forever to get back to another star versus star thing, like concurrently or whatever. Oftentimes, the main eventers are on their own little islands, and it kind of sucks, right? WWE, they'll give you star versus star on TV, but there's usually like a fuck finish or a DQ or something like that. I don't love either philosophy, right? And so for me, the solution to give us more, less conservative booking and to keep stars interacting is TV tags and stables. And Japan, what they do is they put everybody in stables, as you see in the Road 2 shows and things like this. And you know what you have in those Road 2 tags? You have stars wrestling other stars. And there's always a fall guy, so you don't got to worry about that. And then they usually do these in 1 month cycles. And then every month you get a big star versus star matchup. And yes, one of the stars is going to lose, but they get their heat back in other tags and singles matches with other people. So I say all this to say, Punk and Danielson should have been tagging at the beginning of CM Punk's run in AEW. The time where Danielson was having those singles matches that were killer, they could have just had them with Punk, you know? So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna fucking do? But yeah, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. Playboy X 199. Appreciate you. Cody versus Roman WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 40 will be Starcade 84, 85. I've seen that said a few times.
Indeed.
Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate you. It feels like NXT and ROH are doing the same with their talent, but why most people feels like NXT is doing better than ROH is doing wrong? I mean, brother.
There's a big difference in platform, man. Like, Ring of Honor is being watched by very, very few people. And NXT, while it isn't SmackDown, it has a TV audience, right? I know you guys watch NXT, but that's the difference to me as the outside looking in. Big difference in exposure, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think
you don't need to watch it to know that.
That's the main difference, though, right? Like, as a talent, it's like
I don't watch ROH, so I can't talk on it much. But the last version of ROH I saw was,
yeah,
no comment.
The other thing is, at this point, I think, I'm not as high on this current NXT as some people are, but at the same time, I can acknowledge its improvements, and I'll tell you this. It does offer certain things under the WWE umbrella that the other two shows don't, where it's like, even if you prefer the main roster, you can like get something out of watching their show. I mean, they're doing, for just a quick example, they do more kind of PWG / indie influenced wrestling on their show than you get on Raw and SmackDown. And so that's just off rip right there. It's like, you want X Division style wrestling in WWE under a WWE banner. It's happening at NXT of all places. And that's just one of a couple things. I don't know right now if Ring of Honor is offering anything that you could get out of AEW that you couldn't get better from Dynamite or Collision.
Yeah, the Ring of Honor project changed dramatically when Collision emerged too, because a lot of the guys who were like didn't have a natural place on Dynamite and then just immediately moved to Collision. It's like very, very hard to do that. I think. I don't know. I just don't think there's a natural place for it, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Treasure Process 34, $10. I'm gonna keep it a bull. TK not doing everything possible for Punk / Elite to happen will be one of his biggest regrets. The one thing everyone craved for and was his ace in the hole to get domestically hot again. Will be a very big wave. Of course it will, especially as time goes by. Regardless of how AEW does, even if AEW goes on and becomes like, the greatest promotion of all time or whatever, and it's around for 50 more years, there'll always be that question of what if they could have pulled this off, Then obviously if it goes the other way, the doom and gloom way, then it'll be even more of a bigger what if, So, definitely one people will be talking about for years to come, 100%. Short-term Spurs, $2. Wow, Ibu hates Mexicans. Join to Novia, Greg Abbott.
Chi-Town must have missed me raving about CMLL and feeling the Mexican pride in my body watching Team CMLL beat.
You actually said that. I thought you was doing a bit, and I was like, "Fuck, that was a real thing that happened."
No, I'm dead serious. I was screaming "Viva Mexico!"
Yeah, you were. It's fun.
Jeremy Ross, head writer, Jeremy Ross of WrestlePurists. always appreciate him with the £5. Murph is so in Ibu's head. My God. He does have a habit of doing this.
This is in reference to some really stupid conversations I've had with Murph about Collision.
Why do you talk to Murph about Collision?
I know he runs to me to give me his takes on Collision.
Beast.
And of all people, to Rob, who's like, "Why are you taking this bait? Like, just evil, please."
Will Chisholm, $5. Appreciate you. It's crazy how AEW, I think that's meant to say.
Yes,
It's crazy how AEW fans are fighting each other over the shows, and then you got WWE fans like, "Hey, we cool over here, we're having fun. It looks real bad." I mean, I guess there is something to it. But,
bro. The way WWE fans are happy with their product, bro. Joe, I wasn't even allowed to say that this Jimmy stuff stinks. Like I floated it out there on Twitter, and people were like, actually, if you look at it, what he's doing is he's realized that without the bloodline, he doesn't have the security or the respect of the SmackDown locker room, and that's why he wants back in. Duh. And I'm like, all right, man, damn. Like, okay.
This is the idea now of like the WWE audience treating the brand split this way that the Dynamite Collision thing has been treated is now fascinated me. Like the idea of like the draft being a really heated night on Twitter. You pieces of shit stole the Miz, you know, like fucking going back and forth. Like.
Yo, Joe, when Jey Uso was announced to be a part of Raw at Payback, people in the crowd were like, "Oh my God, Jey is on Raw!" Holy shit!
shit, man. Jacob Donnelly, $5. Appreciate you. Fuego del Sol dressed more like an actual luchador than Aerostar. Man, something to it.
Don't get me started on Aerostar.
Yeah, we're not doing that again. Seth Rich Rogan, $10. Appreciate you. I think, in a balanced way, Collision's early issues, Andrade's booking / good match feud, FTR / Jay White having good but overindulgent matches are very much on Tony and people still in the company. Anyone?
No, I think it's fair that Seth brought those up because they do get swept on the carpet by, collided lunatics like us. I mean, the Andrade feud was like insane in terms of booking, you know? He never wrestled Malachi. They just stole his mask. He beat Buddy and they said, "Fuck it, you can have it. Take it back," you know? So,
yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, I thought we were going to get the trios match and like...
Yeah, I'm not sure they're on Tony. That's why I was hesitant to answer because I genuinely don't know who they're on, but those issues are real. I mean, I like the FTR, Jay and Juice thing a lot. So that wasn't an issue for me, but it definitely had flaws for sure.
I don't have much of a problem at all with that specifically, but I do not understand why. I mean, I know some real world stuff played into it, but man, that LFI House of Black thing dying off the way it did and not giving us some of the things that we thought we were going to get out of it is like really, really perplexing. And that's happened with a lot of trios feuds. I mean, the Elite and House of Black didn't have a lot of cool singles matches. I thought I was going to get Kenny Omega versus Malachi or Kenny and Buddy or,
didn't have any, right? They just did.
No, Kings of the Black Throne versus the Bucks. We could, none of that. You know what I think about it? Like, I don't know, man. The House of Black just, in so many respects, like they just haven't lived up to what they could be, and I don't know who to pin that on, but it's just crazy.
It's hard because they're all like the people want to just see them kill guys, and so it's hard to have them have like you saw that with the CMFTR match. Like no one wants to see them have a 25-minute match. They want to see them obliterate dudes with like cool like video game combination of moves. I don't mean that
right.
They're cool when they do that. So I think it's one of those deals where it's a really cool visual and a cool act, but I actually think it's kind of less than some of its parts because they're all very talented dudes. So I'd be tempted to explore them as individuals at this point, personally, but we'll see.
I like all the men's singles wrestlers actually.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. Randy, $5. As a Punk fan, find myself having lost that same passion and excitement for AEW since his firing. Hard to shake what could have been feeling whilst watching. That's understandable, man.
That's where my dad's at.
One of your favourite wrestlers gets fired or released, or even if they get injured for a while or anything like that, it's tough, man. Especially when you log on Twitter and everyone's kind of like having victory laps about it.
Yeah, I would say it's like if you're feeling the same way about it, do avoid that because that can be a little much. But But yeah, he's what if you're watching a wrestling show and an individual is keeping your interest and they're suddenly off that show, like it's very understandable to Like I said it, kind of messing around. But for a shoot, we were watching Collision on Sunday, and the Elton John video starts playing, and my dad just goes, "I miss Punk, man."
That is the thing.
Like the show hasn't started, bro.
So much of the identity of Collision and its style is tied to him because it was his show that, like, hearing the theme song and everything, it's almost like you got to like change a lot of that because it's just weird. You hear Saturday, and it's like, damn, where's my Punk main event tag? But what's funny about this whole thing, Monty? I feel this to a degree, but nowhere near as much as I felt it in October of last year. I've had lower AEW is deflating me and I miss Punk moments in my fandom. There was October of last year when there was no Punk or Elite, and Dynamite was built around Chris Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society and his Ring of Honor run, and I was miserable. And then there was like May of this year, like around the Double or Nothing season, where I was just like, I remember I was telling you privately, I'm like, thank God for Wembley, because I don't know what's going on. At least now we got Eddie Kingston and Danielson on TV.
Yeah,
and, it's Eddie Kingston.
It also it felt like the Punk thing had to come to an end, right? I mean, it was absurd.
That too.
Yeah. But it's even still, I get it totally from a fan's point of view.
Absolutely.
Really $4.99, appreciate you. After giving Roddy versus Darby their flowers, how bad was Nick Wayne versus Darby? NFC facing his third TV match. Get him off TV until he learns how to work.
Before we go any further, Nick Wayne is 18 years old, so I'm sure he'll be, I'm sure he'll get there. Yeah. He's a kid. But a couple of times a week, Ibu and I will contact each other privately to discuss a professional wrestling match. Generally, it's because one of us needs to vent to the other. And I don't think we're talking out of turn here, but to say generally you are the attacker in that situation. Right? You come to me.
What happens is I'll kind of slip in and I'm like, what do you think of insert match?
Yes, and, you will, right? Yeah.
I look over my shoulders, I look both ways, and I'm like, am I an asshole? That's really what it is. It's really, Joe, am I an asshole?
Yes.
I the one that I'll always remember, Monty, was Kyle Fletcher versus Orange Cassidy. And I think that was the match. And I was just like, did you watch this? What did you think of this? Am I a piece of shit for thinking it fucking sucked? So yeah, continue with your story, Joe.
I had that moment with this one because I just thought this match was like so. It's the opposite to Willie's point of the Roddy match, and it was just so loose, and it was clearly a role Nick Wayne's not ready to play. Which again, that's not his fault. But it's like he's basically trying to steer a match as like the antagonist, but he's also trying to portray like that he's conflicted and unsure of what he's. Actually, I mean, you're asking an awful lot of this kid in a 15-minute main event. I thought it was bad, and Darby Allin's flaw is usually like fun. I did not like it at all. And I like Dynamite, almost totally other than that match.
I thought it was a really good show.
I thought it stunk, man. Like, I had that exact moment that you two were just describing about like quietly creeping into someone's DMs. But like, here's the hilarious thing about it was Manny wasn't watching live, so he doesn't watch wrestling anymore. Joe wasn't watching live because I believe he was sleeping or whatever he does because he doesn't watch Dynamite live. Ibu was at work. I got no one to go to. I ended up going to AO. AO, the known not Dynamite hater, Bro, this fucking sucks, I had to get it out to someone,
Did he agree with you, or was he like, nah, that's pretty good?
I mean, I won't reveal what AO said,
High five.
That's protecting the brand because he had a high engagement tweet that probably said, yo, Nick Wayne and Darby went crazy, like 3,000 likes.
You gotta protect the gimmick, brother. We all have them. Yeah.
Privately, he's probably like, "Bro, that shit was awful, my nigga."
It was the wrong way. Like, if you're gonna do that match, it feels like Darby should be like leading the match with physicality and kind of roughing Nick up. But because he's injured, they did it the other way around. Nick's just not ready to do that, man. Like, it's insane.
It was a
Quality
lot to
control
ask
on
of
those
him.
things.
Where he's
Yeah.
at. Yeah. It was a lot to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll choose them $5. Appreciate you. But after the Endeavour deal is done, Triple H will be ready to start back bringing back people to WWE. You'd assume so, because of course that has been something that has came up a few times in like reports and rumours and just general wrestling discussion that WWE have been kind of holding off on, whether that's contracts or whether that's signing new people, and you're starting to hear a bit more of that slowly starting to pick up now. So, who knows? Who knows? It's hard to say. The deal is expected to close tomorrow with the merger. Today is the last day that WWE will be majority independently owned by McMahon ever, and I guess we'll have to wait and see what that means.
What names are they linked to though, in terms of bringing people back?
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Who else is out there? He brought back Emma and the Authors of Pain. What do you want him to do? Fucking, he's gone through NXT TV 4 times over, brother. It's tough. Are there names? I don't know. Oh, Matt Cardona comment in the chat, I guess. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
Randy, $10, appreciate it. Monty and Joe touched on it the other day, but Ibu, what young guys do you think will continue to move you the way guys like CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston did? Who do you think will fill that void for you in the future?
Gunther and Chad Gable.
Fair. Yeah, who are both how old?
Did it on Monday.
Chad's 37 years old or whatever he is.
Gunther's 35.
What about younger talent? Sorry, Bill, because that's what was kind of like. That's what stumped me and Joe,
Oh, it was the last question of the show, too, and it ended it on a total, like, cynical note. We were like, I don't know, man, we're fucked. Like, enjoy us while we're here,
It's like Daniel Garcia,
Yeah, that's all I got. I got Danny.
Braun Breaker and Yuya
Braun is
Uemura.
awesome. I think I mentioned him.
You did, yeah.
If Yuya's return to New Japan is able to shed all the dreck that has been placed on him from Impact, and he can get back in physical shape and be the proper ace, we're saved. Otherwise, the game is fucked.
Suji's cool as well.
He is cool. The thing about it is a lot of these young wrestlers are getting snatched up by major companies too soon. And they're put in these companies where they don't have a proper outlet to actually get great at the craft because they're not doing the house show schedule and they're just kind of featured intermittently. And this is like I'm talking WWE, I'm talking AEW, and it's just like you're just not learning how to be real, because part of really becoming real is trial and error, learning what works across the globe over the course of many years. Bryan Danielson, his experience in the game was invaluable. This man was the American Dragon in 1999, Monty, in FMW. If this was the current landscape now, American Dragon would be signed to a TV company in like 7 months.
Exactly, yeah.
In 7 months.
Right.
He went on to tour the fucking planet for the next 10 years. That's what these dudes had. Robert Roode had the same luxury. AJ Styles, CM Punk, Samoa Joe. That's what makes you real.
Owens, bro, Zayn.
Owens and Zayn. Why do you think they rock the house in these TV tag main events? It's because they know the game. It's not because some jackass producer in the back is like, oh, this is your shine and this is your heat and this is your comeback. Yeah, you can teach that in a fucking factory or a fucking warehouse, but there's levels to this shit, and it's you can't replicate it by just being in some fucking warehouse for 7 months.
Of course. Speaking of Bryan Danielson, seems like he's winding down. Of course. He kind of touched on it in the media scrum after All Out in Chicago. And he was talking about the promise he made to his daughter that when she turns 7, that he won't be wrestling no more, going away as long anymore. And, he's going to have to figure out how to balance wrestling with his home life because, of course, that's very important to him. And he's got a lot of things to figure out. And then this past Saturday on Collision, he pretty much he pretty much mentioned the same promise that he made to his daughter that when she turns 7, that he's gonna start winding down, and basically time's running out. It's then reported the next day by Sports Illustrated that those close to Bryan have basically confirmed that he's within the next year he does plan on stopping being a full-time wrestler, but will probably continue in more of a part-time role. He'll be an attraction. But yeah, man, Danielson, as you just said, he's traveling the world, perfecting his craft. Went on to become as many regarded greatest wrestler in the world. He then went to WWE. He got fired from WWE. He then went back to WWE. He then was never meant to achieve the heights that he achieved in WWE, but somehow did. And then he had to retire. He came back again. Not here to do a whole, recap of Bryan Danielson's career like I've accidentally slipped into.
Feel free,
But
man.
yeah,
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest wrestler to have ever, to ever do it, to ever step inside the ring. So I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about this.
Either. I don't know. Yeah,
It sucks. That's how I feel about it, man. It's very sad. Like I wish him the best as a human being, but I had the moment it was after Forbidden Door when he got hurt. I had the moment of like, oh shit, like we haven't got many Dragon matches ahead of us in terms of like we do, because I think he's actually going to do the part-time thing for like an absurd amount of time because he's insane. But like the reality is him as like a full-time part of our wrestling lives has already become kind of infrequent as of late, right? Look at his year this year. Like he did that big run at the start of the year and
then
clearly
he realized
was feeling
his body could
right.
hold up.
Yeah. And so, like it kind of bummed me out a few months ago and hearing him say it here confirm. And before we go any further, of course, we want Bryan Danielson to be healthy and happy and enjoy the rest of his life with his family. That goes without saying. But he is the greatest wrestler I've ever seen. And it absolutely does make me sad as someone who just loves watching him wrestle. That that era is coming to a close. It's extended far longer than any of us could have imagined, right? You look at these shows every week and we're talking about Brian, Joe, and Punk, and even Roddy, and all these guys that were in their physical prime nearly 20 years ago. But it isn't going to last forever. And I always think the best way to encapsulate Danielson's greatness is that he's a part of the two greatest title changes of the 2010s in WWE. One is the baby face and the other is the heel. And that is how great Bryan Danielson is. He's the master technician who's also maybe the best in the world at having a bloodbath and a brawl. And he's been that way for 20 damn years. Go back, look at those Morishima matches, and then look last week's Ricky Starks. You're talking about a wrestler that in 50 years, new fans will look at his catalog and say, this dude wasn't real. There's no way this happened. But it did, and we were very lucky to have watched it thus far. So I'm going to cherish whatever we've got left for sure.
He's going to miss him.
Yeah, man.
He's incredible. The thing about this for me, the reason why it hasn't hit me, Monty, is because I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. He's just I know Daniels. I don't know him, but like he's a maniac. I don't buy that he can give up wrestling for good. That's my thing.
Well, the part-time thing's a big factor.
Yeah, he'll do that for years.
That's the thing.
It's like how frequent is that part-time?
Yeah.
I'll put it to you this way, Monty. He's been talking about, this is going to be my last year since his last few years in WWE. He said it in 2019, late 2019. He said it in late 2020 that, this is going to be my last WrestleMania and it's probably it for me. And what ends up happening is he goes home. He does give it some time with his family. And then after about 5, maybe 4 or 5 months, he's like, all right, let's do some wrestling. I think that, I don't know. 2 months ago, somebody privately in AEW told me that this was going to happen, that Bryan Danielson was retiring in May. And in my head, I was like, yeah, sure. I think that his week to week, I do believe that maybe his week to week, I'm traveling, making the towns and wrestling on TV every week thing is probably going to come to an end. But I think that we will still be seeing him a couple times a year for a couple more years after this. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
More than a couple years.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I think it could get could get crazy.
I think
his body holds up anyway.
A gray-haired Bryan Danielson at 56.
Because he said that, right? Remember, he said like his ideal last match is it happens just before he dies and he doesn't know it's his last one. He's
Bro,
fucking nuts, man.
Just last night, Monty, I watched Johnny Saint wrestle Bryan Danielson.
God
The great Johnny Saint, British wrestling legend, was in his 60s grappling with Danielson. And guess what, Monty? Not only did the match fucking rule, he was in impeccable shape, head full of gray hair, just having a very snug grappling match with an ROH Danielson. And I watched that and I said, this is going to be Bryan.
Yeah.
This is going to be Bryan. He's going to have a gray beard. He's going to look like a fucking crazy person. He's going to look like George R.R. Martin, fucking just grappling with some young technician that he takes a liking to in a couple of years. I don't know. So until I see an open and shut case here, it's just not going to hit me. Maybe this is copium and denial on my part, but
We wouldn't blame you.
right,
No.
right.
It will be a sad day when the last, Bryan Danielson match is behind us. That'll be very sad. We kind of lived that existence when he had to go, when he had to retire in 2015.
Oh man, that sucked.
It never felt final after that first initial, kind of the tragedy surrounding that. It was very sad initially, and it kind of felt like Dragon's going to come back. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious from this conversation we're going to miss him.
Yeah. Massman 84 199. Appreciate you. Hard to phrase, but Penta is the best at not trying.
He's very good at it. Yeah. Has a lot of experience.
He does not try a lot.
Mushin Iqbal Raja £1.99. Appreciate you. Has Manny stopped watching wrestling?
Yes.
Not completely. But
Oh, come on, it's over.
Manny's left the game, bro. He hung the jersey up, man.
Bro he did a live reaction to Roddy versus Darby and then followed up with, wait, they booked Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. This promotion is cooked.
Bro, he doesn't know what's going on. Monty offered him to come on one of the shows last weekend, and he was just kind of like, I haven't seen anything, so what am I going to do?
he's a beast. Showtime Spurs $5. As a Bears fan, Ibu, can we Ibu, we can pretend NFL doesn't exist together. My city is taking nothing but L's recently.
Yeah, man.
That was good.
I refuse to sit down and watch a performance like the one I watched last night.
David Porges, 1790. Currency I don't recognize. Why is Serena Deeb not being used on AEW? She's one of the most consistent women's wrestlers they have, and she hasn't been around for a long time. I have no idea myself.
The internal chatter that I've heard, and I haven't been able to confirm, but I've heard this from two people now, is that she's just sitting out the remainder of her deal. I don't know if there was a dispute of some kind to lead to this. I don't know what that would be and what the cause of it is. So I don't know.
Will Cheese on $5. Appreciate you. With the Asuka versus EO match happening in 2 weeks, is this WWE slow playing their way to bringing in Kyrie in this mix?
Yes.
You have it.
Yes.
God bless.
But yeah, we're gonna start winding down here a little
I'm looking
bit.
forward to Kyrie. I'm looking forward to.
We've got Raw coming up in about just under 15 minutes, and Gunther is going to be a celebration for his record-breaking Intercontinental title reign. He finally passed the Honky Tonk Man's record of 454 days. He is now the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. And what a reign it has been. He's comfortably the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, as well as the longest reigning for my money. And what a match to seal the deal last Monday with Chad Gable, Gunther. What a wrestler, Joe Hall.
He's great, but before we get into that, they need to book Honky Tonk Man for tonight's TV.
Oh, hold on.
Bro, the Honky Tonk Man interrupting this celebration would be one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. One chop. Honky can take it. No. Honky can... We could do a camera cut. I know the thing they do on NXT where they black the screen out. Do that when Gunther tries to chop Honky Tonk Man.
You know, it's funny. I wanted them to do this weeks ago, Joe. They were in Memphis a couple weeks ago before he broke the record. I wanted him to
should've
come
done
out
that,
there,
yeah.
and he would have been like, "Hold on now, you're not gonna break the Honky Tonk Man's record. I'm the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time." Just literally, you
Right.
know, what we needed was Honky Tonk Man swinging the guitar, and it's a gimmick guitar that Gunther can chop all the way clean
That's it.
through.
Yeah.
And then you see Honky Tonk holding the shredded piece of guitar that he still had in his hand. He has the shocked face. You cut to the shocked face. You cut back to Gunther looking intimidating. The crowd chants, "Holy shit!" Right? And then Honky Tonk wants to run away. Gunther's like, "No, no, 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 no!" He rips his shirt open. Boom, boom, one chop, two chop, power bomb. You know,
Well, hold on.
you pay his medical bills. You pay
Hey,
the
brother,
guys.
let's take it easy. All right, let's calm it down. Everyone's just let's slow
Listen,
it
man,
up.
10
You're
years
talk-
ago, 10 years ago, they had CM Punk beat up Jerry Lawler. He did have a heart attack later in the night, but you know.
Okay. Okay. We need to think about it. We're talking about Honky Tonk Man who stopped bumping on his own finish about 15 years ago. So just take it easy. But nonetheless, Honky kind of promo about how Gunther has cost him like booking money. Oh, but anyway,
Oh, that'd be great.
Gunther may be the best wrestler in the world right now. And his series with Chad Gable is one of the finest television series I've ever seen. It is refreshing in that it is not merely a like montage of separate matches, but is instead a flowing story from one to the next. And watching them develop this dynamic has been incredible. From the first opening 5 minutes, where Gunther was so arrogant and dismissive of Gable, to the third match where Gunther is actively rattled and falling into traps left and right, but just on sheer firepower closes the deal. Each match is built on the last, and the best indicator is every match starts with the people being more into Gable than previously.
Yeah, you've noticed how over
know,
he's gotten? Like
Yeah.
they care about him now, like just as a
Yes.
person.
And even beyond all of those, details that are really ultimately irrelevant, just watch the work. It's that perfect balance between like smooth and still having like an edge to it and feeling physical. It just doesn't get any better, man. Gable is such a treat to watch. The comparison that struck me as I watched the trilogy, this is kind of a weird specific one, but like before he went to the Fed, when Kurt Hennig was in the AWA, and he was like a traditional US worker, but he had the amateur background.
Yes.
That's what Gable is, man. Like, because he's not. He doesn't just. But he's not like just a Mac guy. Like, he's very much like a traditional worker. He's a traditional US worker in that way. So wonderful to watch them both, and Gunther may be the best wrestler in the world.
He very well might be. I'd have a hard time arguing it. Yeah, Ibu, Gunther, 454 days officially surpassed. Anything you want to say about this incredible reign that he's been having? Put him over a little bit.
His matches are appointment viewing, and there's weeks where I'm waiting for Monday purely on the hope that he can get in the ring for a couple minutes. Because whatever Gunther does in those couple minutes in the ring is holding me over for a few days. His work still actively moves me. And I love that his matches don't feel the same. You'd think they would, but they don't. Because the thing about Gunther is he hold on.
No.
God,
Joe.
is that the Honky Tonk Man?
Just
sorry. I was gonna say, my apologies. I was gonna say the thing about it is he doesn't have the same matches because Monty, certain guys don't push him as far as other guys do. You know, Matt Riddle didn't make a dent in Gunther. You know what I mean? There's certain guys that can push him a bit, other guys can't. And there's a joy in seeing who can kind of overcome him and push him and have him on the ropes. And it just makes him a better babyface for it. I went back and watched his match with Sami Zayn. What a treat. He had a great match with Sami. He's compiling a nice year for himself, man. I love the TV stuff. The Sami match, the KO match. He faced Dean Jericho and he tagged with Kaiser that one week. He had the matches with Gable, right? It's just been a fun year for the guy. What a wrestler. I think he's operating at best. And because his matches on Raw don't go 25 minutes and they're not structured always to be epic, Joe, because of that, he doesn't always score as favorably on like Cage Match or like the Observer newsletters ratings. So he doesn't have a ton of like 4.5s, right? But when you watch his work, I mean, I find it hard to say that it gets much better than what he does, to be honest, when you're just in the moment. So I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he easily is the best Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Context greatly assists his case because, let's be real, he's wrestling in front of crowds that traditionally would really struggle to appreciate his style. And I don't mean that as a knock, but he's not like a conventional WWE superstar, and the ability to adapt his style and matches accordingly and and keep his presentation as what it was. But he's made some alterations, obviously physically, that goes without saying. And he's found a version of himself that not only works in this setting, but is thriving. Obviously, it's a different WWE than before, but let's be real, the fans are still very much the same. Like it's not like they're reacting differently to most guys. He's just that good. So
I'd like to make an announcement on tonight's Raw.
Oh, no.
They're doing Tommaso Ciampa, Chad Gable, and Otis versus Imperium.
There's some good professional wrestlers in that, bro. Otis, God bless.
But since we
Japan.
So it's kind of put a cherry on the top of our podcast and of our praises of Gunther and his record-breaking Intercontinental Championship reign. We have just announced over on our Twitter account that Gunther is the WrestlePurists Wrestler of the Week for September 4th to September 10th.
Well, hold on a second.
What?
There's a certain Messiah of the Backbreaker who got back in there with a broken freaking neck, put down Trent Beretta, who's been riding high lately in 10 minutes, then rolled into Saturday night, which I'm told is all right for fighting, and beat the ever-loving shit out of Darby Allin. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe this is that Fed bias everyone's telling me about. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe.
No, of course, well deserved, obviously.
Shout out Gunther.
How many Wrestler of the Weeks has he won? we should be keeping a counter of who how many everyone has at this point.
In 2022, Will Ospreay won 3 in 4 weeks.
I feel like Gunther has a couple now.
He wouldn't.
Remember when Liv Morgan won it? How much that ruled?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
One of the greatest WrestlePurists moments ever. That's when I was still
probably my favorite wrestler of the week so far.
Yeah.
It was the most internally controversial wrestler of the week.
Legitimate, would return to my phone and see a legitimate shootout taking place regarding this Liv Morgan vote. All timer.
God bless. But yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Please like the video because, as usual, I have not plugged it near enough throughout this video. So please like the video on the way out. There's still over 150 of you in here. Appreciate you for, chilling with us before Raw. Or I know a lot of you may not be watching Raw, but whatever you choose to do with your Monday evening, we appreciate that you spent some of it here with us at WrestlePurists Worldwide. But please, we do ask that you do like the video, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And we appreciate all the super chats as always. You guys have, you guys give us a reason. Keep hopping on here, talk a bit of graps. We enjoy doing it for you. We appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and we will be back tomorrow afternoon. Myself and Ibu at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday it will be 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll do the Dynamite watch along. Thursday, AEW Dynamite review. Friday, possibly on Purist, and in the afternoon it'll be myself and Joe Hall, but about sometime in the afternoon doing our news show. Saturday, open day at the moment. Sunday, Ibu, I'm going to have to motivate him like a true Paul Heyman type to get him to pull together this Sunday podcast with Israel and AR. I'm going to motivate people. We got a lot of podcasts coming up as usual. We appreciate all you guys for sticking with us. Please like the video on the way out. Please subscribe. And one last time, thanks for watching. Peace.